Like this one, it's different. To encourage people to target at people who are environmentally friendly. As you cycle, you will purify this water. You can turn this water into drinking water. And this is a live straw, a simple device. But with this straw, you can drink water that is not clean. It will automatically help you to filter your water. So you can differentiate in various ways, right? This phone costs $20,000. $5,000 will only give you the shell. Okay. We can differentiate through place. Various ways that we can always try to grow our businesses, such as Airbnb. Okay. Even in simple things like, just an example, a simple thing. Now, as I mentioned right at the beginning, I do not have any shareholdings in any company when I mention any. Let me ask you, how many of you own a pair of Nike? Would you be wrong if you have purchased a pair of Nike shoes? Nike will tell you, no, you have made the right decision. They give you a tick. Correct. So little things, if we are entrepreneurial, every dimension of our business, we try to maximize the various opportunities. So having said so, my last few slides will be on brand service process. It's very important, don't just build a product, but build a strong brand. If you have identified a change in the business environment, set up a business, build your brand. Okay. Is Harley Davidson a strong brand? Very strong brand. Now, I don't think I will be sued by saying this, so I will claim academic immunity. Some people who own a Harley tells me that actually the quality of a Harley may not be perfect, may not be as good as some others. If you tell that to a Harley Davidson owner, he will not be angry. He's so confident about the product. He will tell you, I will rather push my Harley than ride on another bike. So that's why I think sometimes traveling in groups can be helpful. But it's such a product that with such a strong brand, guess what? Very remarkable. That even some of their customers tattoo Harley Davidson on their shoulders. I asked my university students, when will you ever tattoo my university name on your shoulders? They think I'm crazy. I'm mad. But if you have built a strong brand, it is very powerful. Okay. By the way, allow me to just quickly use an example. Because when I talk about implementing this, so I am trying. We have a master's program. I try to differentiate the program in different ways. But I don't want to spend too much of my time because I don't intend to promote about my program. So let me spend more of the time about Bumrungrad instead. To me, Bumrungrad is very successful. And one of the reasons why it's so successful is that in relation to its target customers. Always bear in mind, you cannot try to please all the whole world. You need to have clear target customers. So, in my own view, they are very, very, very good. You know, some hospitals, I remember when I was young, some hospitals that when you go to, if you are half dead, when you see the hospital, you wish you were dead. But Bumrungrad, when you see it, you will not want to leave this world. how to leave this world. If you don't mind paying more, they even come up with a floor plan. And if you are not happy with that, you can choose this. Do you think you want to leave the world when you see this? So to me, they are very good. They are market leader in their own sense of the word, because when we talk about it, that's why so many patients from all over the world come to Bumrungrad. And that just reinforce one point. If you want to be a market leader, you must have a clear positioning supported by differentiation. So for Bumrungrad, top-notch quality service. When you look, for example, at the various facilities, so top-notch. Okay. So how to leave this world, right? You will fight to die. You will fight to live. Fight to live. Okay. So coming to the end soon of my presentation. So we always think the world changes, and we must adapt. Kodak did not adapt, but Fuji adapted. From just making cameras, what Fuji has done is they have moved into other areas like medical imaging, 3D printing, because the world has changed. Okay. So I will just leave you with a few words. As I mentioned right at the start, I wish that this forum will help to trigger some thoughts in your mind. And I just want to leave you with a few words before I conclude. The world is changing. Are you? Okay. And Jack Welch says, if you are not one step ahead, you are 2 steps behind. Okay. And Gandhi has said, Mahatma Gandhi has said, you must be the change you wish to see in this world. Okay. So what I have given today, I've taken from various sources, from books such as these, okay, books such as these as well, different sources. Okay, so I will just end here, and that will finish in good time for the Q&A.
Thank you very much. ขอเสียงปรบมือนะครับให้กับรองศาสตราจารย์ดร. ฮุย เดน ฮวนครับ
Thank you.
Wow very informative professor เอาละครับเดี๋ยวเราจะเปิดช่วงนี้ครับ so we leave about like maybe 10-15 minutes for the questioning session เดี๋ยวจะเปิดโอกาสให้ท่านผู้เกียรติทุกท่านนะฮะว่าใครอยากจะมีคำถามถามอาจารย์คุยได้เลยนะครับเดี๋ยวจะเริ่มต้นเป็น section นะครับทางซ้ายมือโซนแรกนะฮะโซนที่2โซนที่3โซนที่4โซนที่5นะครับมีท่านไหนนะครับในโซนแรกทางซ้ายมือของผมนะครับมีคำถามได้เลยนะฮะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของสิ่งที่ท่านพูดมาหรือว่าเป็นคำถามที่ท่านคิดอยู่ในใจอยากจะลองถาม professor นะครับอาจารย์คุยให้ตอบถามเป็นภาษาไทยได้ฮะเดี๋ยวจะพยายามแปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะครับ anyone any questions
อัสสลามุอะลัยกุมวะเราะห์มะตุลลอฮิวะบะเราะกาตุฮ์ขอเรียนถามท่านวิทยากรนะครับว่าการเปลี่ยนแปลงในสิ่งที่เคยทำไปแล้วเนี่ยจะเป็นการทำลายจุดยืนเลยครับบางเรื่องบางราวนะครับ
หมายถึงว่าเราเคยเปลี่ยนแปลงเราเคยมีจุดยืนของเราครับแล้วถ้าเราเปลี่ยนแปลงจากจุดยืนของเราครับจะเป็นการทำลายจุดยืนที่เราเชื่อมั่นตั้งแต่ตอนแรกหรือเปล่าใช่ครับขอบคุณมากครับ Wow that's a very good question his question is would changes from what you believe the first principle that you have developed in the beginning and then you change from that principle would that be demolishing your own principle to begin with do you understand the question
to demolish my principle.
For example, if I believe in something, I have a principle in something that I've done, and now you're asking me that, okay, we might have to change away from my first belief, from my principle. Would that be damaging my own principle to begin with?
Yes. So thank you very much for the very good question. I would say there are some things which are fundamental. For example, values. Our values, such as integrity, professionalism, these are fundamental, and these should not change. fundamental values should not change. When it comes to, for example, types of products, types of services that we want to offer, we should change when the environment has changed. Because one very important rule is we must always stay relevant. So just an example, when we are running a business, our fundamental value is we build trust with our customers. So that trust must not change. But if the environment has changed, a new product is required, then we must change accordingly to the new product. So let me just give you an example. In the field of education, one significant change is happening, and that's called MOOC, M-O-O-C. And that's what we call online courses. They are happening. So people who are in this field, the professors and all this, we will need to change accordingly. Example, in the past, students learn from textbooks. Lecturers go and lecture, one-way communication. But today, the younger generation, different way of learning. So we have adopted back in my university a concept that is called the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is we assume the student will be able to gain access to information. They don't need just only the textbook. So our method of, I won't say teaching, our method of approach will be such that we will engage them in discussions rather than just a one-way traffic. Now, I'm going to say something that my colleagues may want to hang me upside down. If I have my way, I will ban the term lecturers. I will ban the term lecturers. A person should not be lecturing. I will replace the word lecturers with inspirers. The role of a lecturer is not to lecture. If you are a lecturer, you are trying to share your knowledge with your student, but you only have this limited. Everyone can only know so much. Sure, we need to share something, but it will be better if you can inspire the students themselves to get interested, and they themselves will want to learn more and probably can even learn more than you. So every lecturer should be happy if their students know more than them.
นะครับมีคำถามต่อไหมครับเชิญครับเชิญเลยครับ
สิงคโปร์จากจุดเริ่มต้นเมื่อ50 ปีที่แล้วเนี่ยที่เป็นหมู่บ้านชาวประมงเนี่ยอะไรคือหัวใจหลักของการขับเคลื่อนความเปลี่ยนแปลงจากหมู่บ้านชาวประมงมาเป็นปัจจุบันครับ
Very good question. He said Singapore 50 years ago it was a small village, a fishing village. What is the key important mechanism that has shifted the whole country from a small fishing village to what it is today?
So thank you very much for the question. So I believe sometimes a combination of various things. One is a recognition of the external environment. So in other words, Singapore has very limited resources. So it knows that in order to survive with no resources, you have to continuously change. So to me, I could be biased because I happen to look after the entrepreneurship field. I would say it's the enterprising mindset. Enterprising mindset in the sense that the country is run like a business. So Harvard Business School came out with one case study on Singapore. It's called Singapore Inc. So under the Singapore Inc., the concept is this. Government is not just bureaucracy. Government is not just administration. It is important. Administration is important. But if I may use this word, government is also intrapreneurship. Intrapreneurship. So, in any organization, whether government, whether private sector company, whether charities. So the important thing is to provide the environment where the talents can be developed with an enterprising mindset. So even though I run the Technopreneurship Center, I always tell all those who take our master's program, it doesn't mean if you take a master's degree in technopreneurship, you must be an entrepreneur to add value. You can be joining a company, you can be working with the government, but if you have an enterprising mindset, that to me will enable you to contribute tremendously. So at the end of the day, the most important word to me is always value creation. So if you are in your business or even you are in a university, you must always ask yourselves, are you providing the best possible value to your customers, better than your competitors, and values that are relevant to a changing environment? So if we look at it this way, just now I mentioned the example about Airbnb. So Airbnb will be a huge threat to the hospitality industry. And the next question that you ask me is, wow, Airbnb is already well established. I'm a small entrepreneur. Is there any way I can do to challenge Airbnb? I always say a lot of big things today started small. Don't be discouraged even you are small. Don't be discouraged even if you have limited resources. My co-author started his marketing consulting firm, Hermawan Katajaya, very small, just 2 people. Today is very successful. Airbnb, even Google, any business, if they don't watch out, they can be overtaken by a competitor that can spring from outside. If there is an Airbnb, there is no reason why you cannot set up a water B&B, right? So the challenge to us is, how can we differentiate that enable us to provide an even better value to what is existing? So businesses will always be changing, always be, there will always be new areas anyone can approach. And I agree with the gentleman there. Values are very important. Fundamental values has to remain, like trust has to remain. But in terms of our business approaches, in terms of anything we do, even including in government, in universities, we always have to change. So let me give you an example. Since I am running this and it's a real life example, to add value to our master's program, we bring students to Silicon Valley. But how do we improve? Then the next thing I challenge my colleagues, can we do something better? Yes, when they go to Silicon Valley for their immersion trip, instead of just visiting companies and learning companies, why don't we set up a forum there that will enable them to network with the entrepreneurs in that place? So this is just an example. I'm not saying that we are perfect, we are the best. We are always still learning. The important thing is always learn, innovate, especially as what Jack Welch says, change before you have to. Don't be complacent, don't be arrogant, even if you are very successful today. If we remain arrogant, if we don't continuously drive through the sustainability loop, coming out with creative destruction, creatively destroy what we do that is no longer relevant. We have to creatively destroy and identify new values that change. So I gave the example of Olivetti. They died because they didn't change. The reality has changed. Nobody wants to use the typewriter anymore, especially with the computers. So these are examples of changes.
So
Thank
just
you.
to add, can I sum it up that
Sure.
Singapore has been run like a business.
Yes.
That's why it's successful.
Yes.
Can I just sum it up
Yes.
in that simple terms?
I agree.
And in order to do that,
Yes.
you need someone who can actually run the country like a business.
Yes.
The late Lee Kuan Yew, is he a key factor in the success of Singapore?
If you allow me, I think that the country is very lucky to have a leader who is very enterprising. So to me, he is very, very enterprising. He is not a businessman. But as I mentioned, entrepreneurship does not belong only to businessmen. Entrepreneurship, enterprising mindset belong to everyone. It is up to us as individuals, our attitude, how we want to develop our attitude. So entrepreneurship, enterprising mindset does not only belong to the males, women, nomics. It does not only belong to the established people, the young generation, the new generation. So it also does not only belong to the old, age-wise, gender-wise, and everything. So really the most important thing is at the end of the day ourselves. And I want to congratulate, as I mentioned, every member of the audience because it does cost you time and effort to come for this forum. But by taking the effort, it shows that you are very enterprising. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay ครับเดี๋ยว
Thank you.
Dear Professor, you have explained that business don't need to be outstanding in every field. You have to be just one outstanding field to become the market leader. But what about on the other side? Because many businesses, especially the business to customer fields, have some complaints share and how to handle them because you don't want to be on the leader of the complaining side either. Is there any opinion on this question? Thank you.
เดี๋ยวถ้าผมพยายามจะเข้าใจในสิ่งที่ท่านพูดหมายความว่าprofessor ได้บอกว่าเราไม่ต้องเก่งในทุกเรื่องถูกต้องไหมฮะใช่ไหมฮะเราไม่ต้องเก่งในทุกเรื่องก็ขอให้เก่งในฟิลด์ที่เราถนัดและเก่งที่สุดถูกต้องไหมครับแล้วเมื่อกี้นี้ท่านก็พูดบอกว่าแล้วถ้าเกิดเราอยู่ในเซกเตอร์อะไรนะฮะ
โดยเฉพาะถ้าเป็นเซกเตอร์ที่เกี่ยวกับมีจำนวนลูกค้าที่เป็นคนธรรมดาเยอะครับก็คือถ้าเกิดเราละเลยในส่วนอื่นเนี่ยเราอาจจะถูกคอมเพลนเยอะกว่าปกติเรามีวิธีคือท่านมีความเห็นเกี่ยวกับว่าต้องรักษาระดับในฟิลอื่นให้คงที่ระดับไหนที่ควรจะเป็นครับ
I think his point is that you mentioned something about that you don't have to be good in every field. Okay, you just be good in what you specialize in that particular field. But then he asked that sometimes you can't overlook other fields as well, because if you overlook other fields, then you might get complaints from customers who might say, hey, how come you don't fulfill the other fields and you're only focusing on one or two fields?
Yes.
So he was just asking, what's your point or opinion on that?
So I thank you very much for a very good question. So I believe I mentioned just now, we